What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got our Week 16 fantasy football running back starts and sits for every single matchup, so make sure to tune in. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all, but with that being said, let's get right into it. Today's video is brought to you guys by Birddogs. And look, I know we're all searching for that perfect pair of shorts or pants that offers the best style, the best comfort, the best bang for your buck. Well, guess what? That search is over because Birddogs offers all of that and so much more. If you're looking for shorts, they have a ton of options with active wear, casual wear, or even beach wear. On top of that, their pants have a selection of khakis, joggers, and sweatpants. So what are you waiting for? Regardless of the occasion of the season, get yourself the most stylish, the most comfortable pair of pants with a built-in liner from Birddogs.com. And if you use promo code ADP today, you'll get a free rope hat with your purchase. Again, that's birddogs.com, code ADP, and you'll get a free rope hat with your purchase. Make sure to check out birddogs.com, link in the description. And we kick off Week 16 with the Jaguars at the Jets. And here there's really only one running back you should feel confident in starting. That's Travis Etienne of the Jaguars. And the reason being is because, well, first and foremost, he is playing right now on a surging offensive team with a quarterback that's playing great football and a team that's utilizing him, in 15 plus carries a game. And that's going to mean opportunities. Yes, he's facing a stingy Jets defense, but he should still have chances to do something special. That's why I have him as a mid to high end running back too. Now for the Jets, it's a bit of a different situation. I do have Zonovan White as a starter currently, but that's tentatively. That's why you see the asterisk next to his name. The reason being is because this should be determined by who the starting quarterback of the Jets is. Last week, Mike White did not play. He was injured. It was Zach Wilson. And as we all expected, the offense took a step back. So did the rushing attack, more importantly. And if it's the same situation again this week on a short week, which I anticipate it will be, Zonovan White should not be started. The rushing attack, isn't going to be that big of a factor, especially if the Jets find themselves down. So to me, in that scenario, White is a sit. If somehow Mike White plays, then okay, we take a chance on Zonovan, but I think that's a long shot. And then also Michael Carter, he's pretty much an afterthought in fantasy. He is a sit. He is seated way to Zonovan White. He is the backup at this point in time to Zonovan White. He is a sit. Afterwards, Falcons at the Ravens. We're seeing maybe a little bit of a late season changing of the guard here for the Falcons. Tyler Algier getting a little bit more opportunities week by week and doing more with it compared to Cordero Patterson, who I currently have as a sit. Algier just looks like the more explosive guy, more efficient, and I'd rather bet on that. Now, I still have him probably as a low-end running back too, because Patterson is still going to get his. But look, this Ravens team doesn't scare me potentially without Lamar Jackson, and I would guess that that's what we see this week. And that's going to have really a effect not only on the offense, but also on the defense. It's going to tire them out. The Falcons, I think their bread and butter is running the football. Algier will get some opportunities. If you need a player, I think he's a decent dart throw. And then for the Ravens, J.K. Dobbins, since his return, whether it's with Lamar, without Lamar, he's been heavily utilized. The Ravens want to be a run-heavy team. And even with Gus Edwards there, Dobbins, when available, has been the main guy. I am starting him. I do feel better about him compared to Algier in this matchup. I have him as a high-end running back too. The Falcons defense does not scare me. And then I'm sitting the guys in Cordero Patterson. Like I mentioned, I think he's kind of becoming a little bit of that second fiddle to Tyler Algier. And then Gus Edwards just not getting enough usage compared to J.K. Dobbins. Tough to get excited about 5 to 6 carries a game, so he is a sit for me. Then Lions at the Panthers. Really only one name that I'd take a chance on here. That's Jamal Williams. I think that the Lions are going to have a bounce-back game here versus the Panthers. And DeAndre Swift still not getting as many rushes as we would hope. Williams is still the main guy in that category. I think he has a little bit of a bounce back game here. I think he finds the end zone, but right now with both Williams and Swift back and with Williams not getting as much usage as he did before, with Swift getting a little bit healthier and healthier, I do want to say that whoever you go with, Williams or Swift or even both of them, which I would not advise, I have them as low-end running back twos. And as you can see, I have DeAndre Swift as a sit, just not getting the volume here. Maybe if it's a blowout versus the Panthers, then Swift could get some viable opportunities, but it's tough to bank on that, so I'd rather sit him. Then for the Panthers, maybe a bit of a surprise considering them going up against this Lions defense, but I have Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard as sits. Lions have actually been kind of deceptively all right versus the run. And for the Panthers, I mean, Foreman, other than in matchups where it's very, very favorable for him, and the Panthers are in a great position to, dominate the game because they are up, that's really only when Foreman has been successful. Now with Chuba Hubbard getting a little bit healthier, he's been cutting into Foreman's carries. I think that, there's just not going to be enough volume. I don't think there's going to be good opportunities. I don't think that the game script is going to be favorable. So for that reason, I am sitting Foreman and Chuba Hubbard here. Then Seahawks at the Chiefs, a little bit easier. Kenneth Walker, you're going to start him for the Seahawks. It wasn't all that sexy, but he had a decent performance versus the 49ers. I think he can have success versus a wavering Chiefs defense, especially these last couple of weeks. I have him as a high-end running back too. For the Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, more of the standard play here. That's kind of how this Chiefs backfield has evolved these last couple of weeks. I think in standard formats, he's a low-end running back 2, probably high-end running back 3 if we want to be conservative. But then Jerick McKinnon, he's been a PPR stud. He's been a top 5 running back these last couple of weeks. And you got to continue to ride the hot hand, getting some more opportunities as a rusher as well. I have him as a high-end running back 2. I would start both of these Chiefs running backs. Moving on, Saints at the Browns, Alvin Kamara, I will start him. Nick Chubb, I will start him as well. I feel much better about Nick Chubb in this game just because he is getting the opportunities. He is in an offense that I trust more. And even though Kamara, finally had double-digit points this last week, again, it was more so in PPR formats. Keep that in mind. And he's still in that mid, probably to low-end running back 2 range. Been very disappointing these last couple of weeks. Sure, it's a decent matchup, but so was last week. It wasn't spectacular for Alvin Kamara, so I am a little bit hesitant here to call him a running back 1 for sure. Much rather prefer Nick Chubb. He is a top 10 running back for me here on the week, but I'm sitting Kareem Hunt. Just hasn't been fantasy viable since Deshaun Watson came back. I don't think that changes here the last couple of weeks of the fantasy season. Afterwards, Texans at the Titans. I'm only interested in Derrick Henry here. I think he's going to have a huge, huge game versus the Texans. He is the heart of the Titans offense, and this Texans defense is awful. Derrick Henry, top 3 running back on the week. Then for the Texans, without Dameon Pierce, you don't want to go with anyone here. That's why you're sitting all the Texans running backs. There's a couple of guys here, and it's just tough. I think this could be a blowout. I'm sitting all the Texans rushers. Afterwards, Bengals at the Patriots. I'll start Joe Mixon. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am a little bit worried about his usage these last couple of weeks. Samaje Perine hasn't gone away, but that's not to say that you should start him. Don't get confused just because Joe Mixon is struggling to say that I'm going to start Samaje Perine. That's not the case. He is definitely a sit. But Mixon, I think you just have to look at him kind of as a mid running back 2 here. It's just all about how many opportunities the Bengals give him. So kind of boom or bust in that regard. For the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson has been a top 10 running back when he plays. I think that's going to continue to be the case, even if Damian Harris returns, who I currently have as a sit. But honestly, even if he does play, he's missed the last couple of weeks. I think Stevenson has ran away with the starting running back job. So Damian Harris, to me, even if he does suit up, would be a sit. Then Giants at the Vikings. Easy. You start Saquon Barkley, you start Dalvin Cook. I'm probably a little bit more excited about Saquon Barkley just because he's been more efficient with what he's done. Dalvin Cook, he's been a big play guy. If he doesn't hit that 40-yard gain, whether through the air or on the ground, Dalvin Cook has been very, underwhelming. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case here. I think he's going to get his opportunities, but I have Barkley as a low to mid-level running back 1, Dalvin Cook, high-end running back 2. Then Bills at the Bears. Honestly, I'm sitting all the rushers here. Now, you might be shocked considering David Montgomery is coming off a huge game, but I don't think lightning strikes twice here for the Bears. I think they're going to struggle versus this Bills defense. But more importantly, Khalil Herbert is coming back. And, we saw it when he was healthy before. He was taking away opportunities from Montgomery, and I think that's going to come back here. Montgomery is going to take a hit, and I could see this being a negative game script for the Bears. So to me, I would rather sit Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. If Herbert does not suit up here, then we can talk about starting Montgomery as a mid-level running back too. For the Bills, Devin Singletary, James Cook are both sits, just not getting enough usage, not getting enough good opportunities. It's just been Josh Allen on the ground and then the wide receivers through the air. So Singletary, James Cook are sits for me. Then Commanders at the 49ers. I'm only really confident in Christian McCaffrey here. He's been great these last couple of weeks. I anticipate that will continue here, even versus Washington. And then for the Commanders, on their end of it, Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson are sits. I mean, Gibson, again, an afterthought. Brian Robinson has really been surging, the rookie rusher, but I think this is going to be a tough task versus this 49ers defense. I think that, they could force Washington to have to air out the football. I don't like this matchup. To me, all the rushers for Washington are sits. Then Eagles at the Cowboys. I'm starting all the rushers here. For Philly, Jalen Hurts probably not going to play this week. That is a tough loss. But Miles Sanders probably going to shoulder a bigger load. I have him as a high-end running back too. For the Cowboys, Zeke and Tony Pollard, I have both of them as starts. They've been getting excellent usage. I have both of them as mid to high-end running back twos as well. Following this, Raiders at the Steelers, you start Josh Jacobs, you start Najee Harris. I think Josh Jacobs, top 10 running back. Najee Harris, favorable matchup. I think he can be a mid to high-end running back too. And then I'm sitting Jaylen Warren. Don't get confused that the fact he had a touchdown last week, I don't think that's going to continue. If anything, he's touchdown or bust. Just, again, the usage not great. I'm sitting Warren here. And then Packers at the Dolphins. I will start Aaron Jones. Now, yes, A.J. Dillon had a lot of success versus the Rams this last week. The Dolphins are not the Rams. A.J. Dillon, I don't think is going to be afforded the same opportunities. I have him as a sit. Aaron Jones reemerges as the primary fantasy option for this Packers offense. I have him as a high-end running back too. For the Dolphins, I have Raheem Mostert as a start if Jeff Wilson does not play. If Jeff Wilson plays, I think you have to bench Raheem Mostert. I know he's coming off a huge game, but we've seen with this Dolphins offense, when both these guys are available, it's kind of a crapshoot. It could go either way. I think it's too risky. So for that reason, I'd rather play it safe and, bench Mostert if Wilson plays. Then Broncos at the Rams. This looks disgusting, but I'll start Latavius Murray and Cam Akers. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair where, the quarterbacks aren't going to have to do all that much. They're just going to hand it off to the rushers here. I think that Murray probably has the higher ceiling, but either way, both these guys probably in the low-end running back 2 range. Have some upside, but look, we're definitely not going to see from Latavius Murray what we saw this last week. Keep that in mind. There is boomer bust, kind of potential with both of these players. Then Bucks at the Cardinals. I really want to start James Conner. Yes, it's a tough matchup, but he's getting the usage. He's getting looks as a pass catcher as well. I have him as a low to mid-level running back too. And then for the Buccaneers, it's tough to get excited about Fournette and or Rachaad White when they're both there because they're vulturing away opportunities. They're both just getting like 10 carries a game. The Buccaneers offensively are broken. Now, I do anticipate that this game could go very much so in their favor versus this Cardinals teams without Kyler Murray. So keep that in mind. But again, just too tough to predict this backfield. Also, bad offensive line, bad rushing attack. You're really just banking on pass catching opportunities, which again, too tough to predict. So I'd rather sit Fournette and White. Then Chargers at the Colts. You start Austin Eckler. That's a no-brainer. He got banged up a little bit last week, but still had a touchdown. So, Eckler doing Eckler things. I think he's in store for a big game this week versus the Colts. And speaking of the Colts, you don't see Jonathan Taylor here. He is an IR. He is going to finish his disappointing season injured, which means Deion Jackson is back as a fantasy football darling. He could be a league winner here. I have him as a high-end running back too. Zach Moss got some opportunities this last week, but I mean, we've seen this before. Jackson is the guy. Don't get duped by Zach Moss. He is a sit. But with that, we wrap up our Week 16 fantasy football running back starts and sits for every single matchup. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section if you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.